So many people ask a question about what does love or real love looks like. And I think we all have an ideology of what we think love is and what love looks like. But love, depending on the nature in which it's given, whether it's a love for a loved one, or whether it's a love for a car, or whether it's a love for my job, they all kind of like filters in different areas in different ways, if that makes sense. So I'm going to talk about love as far as in terms of relationships, and what does that really look like? When you think about in terms of how the Word of God describes love, he said, "For God so loved the world," that's 1 John 5:3. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son." No, it's actually 1 John 3:4.
John 3:16.
3:16, yeah. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but shall have everlasting life." The word that sticks out is that he gave. And sometimes when you talk about love is something that's given unselfishly. It's not given because you've done this for me, or it's not given because I've done that for you, but it's given because, even though you don't deserve, sometimes the love that I may render towards you, I still choose to give it. Even though it's hard to walk through some areas that person or that individual may be challenged in, I still choose to submit to loving you through it. And so love is a great expression of what one gives out of the capacity of what one doesn't deserve, but you still choose to love. I hope that makes sense. To describe it in another way is 1 John 5:3. It says, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments." Well, when he was talking about that, he was talking about, like, if you love me, you're gonna love one another as, Christ loved the church. You're going to spread his word. You're going to give unselfishly. You're going to always find yourself to prefer others over your own needs. And that's so much the same way in a relationship. I'm preferring her over my own needs. I'm preferring him over my own needs. For example, your wife said, "Well, babe, I want to go on a trip." And he says, "Well, babe, we can't afford it." And she says, "Well, you don't love me." Well, that type of love is a distorted type of love, because I'm sure he desires to take her anywhere he wants to go, or she wants to go, but it does not necessarily mean that the money's not there. I'm loving you enough to tell you the truth. We may go, but we may not be able to get back. When we talk about in the fashion of man loving a woman or a woman loving a man, I think sometimes in society we have an ideology how a woman is supposed to love a man, and we render that to sex or intimacy, and how a man is supposed to love a woman, and they render that to giving and monetary giving, buying me this car, buying me that, or whatever. Those things have nothing to do with love. Love is basically saying that I'm going to put your needs above my own. And vice versa. She's going to put her needs above her own. It's a selfless act. So when I say it's a selfless act, you don't even have yourself in mind. You're always thinking about how to be a blessing or how to love the other, versus yourself. And because we are selfish creatures, sometimes we go into a marriage, we go into a relationship, and that's very distorted, because, we always have been brought up of, I think about me. And then when we get single, it is all about you. It's always about you. It's always something I want to do. I want to go on this trip. I want to buy me a Gucci. I want to buy me this and all this stuff. And so when you get into a marriage, you think that person is also supposed to be about you. That's not necessarily true. Matter of fact, that's not true at all. That person is supposed to think of you in a way of making sure that they put their needs aside to submit to your needs, but vice versa. So love can be very complex in the way people look at it, the way people feel about it, but I'm simply trying to define what real love looks like. And what that looks like is just an unselfish act towards another. I oftentimes say that love is not something that you say, it's an action word. And you can normally detect real love by how the person actions are towards, you know, the individual. I hope this answered your question. I'm J.L. Stone. Look, come hit me up on Let's Talk Truth with my website. I am J.L. Stone, and we'll love to be able to expound more on the topic of what real love look like. Talk to you later.